Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we'll be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember, anytime you work on an appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. Also make sure you turn off the dishwasher's water supply underneath the sink. In this video we're going to show you how to change out the GE dishwasher sump. It's going to be a very easy repair and it'll only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can click on the link below or get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. When you open up the package, you're going to get the new sump. The sump goes in between the tub and the pumps. The main reason you'll be changing it out is if it's damaged and you're getting water leaking on the floor. In order to change the part, we have to pull the dishwasher out. So we're going to go underneath the sink and disconnect the lines. Now that we're underneath the cabinets, you want to make sure that the dishwasher is still unplugged, and you may want to throw a towel down. When we take off the fill line and the drain hose, there's going to be some water that comes out. First, we're going to disconnect the fill line. It's connected right here to the hot water valve. You want to make sure the water valve is off, and then we're going to use our 5/8" wrench to loosen up the hose. Once you have it broke free, you can just reach in and unscrew it by hand. Once you have it off, you can just set it down, and then we can take off the drain hose. To take the drain hose off, you just want to follow it up to wherever it goes. It may go to the garbage disposal. Ours goes up to the air gap. Once you locate the end of it, we're going to take a 5/16 nut driver and loosen up the clamp. Once you have the clamp loose, you can pull it free and set it down. Now that we have the lines disconnected, we can open up the dishwasher door and take out the lower rack. To get the rack out, all you have to do is pull it out. Once you have it out, take it off and set it aside. Now that we have the lower dish rack out, we can take out the spray arm. All you have to do is lift up on it a little bit and turn it counterclockwise. It should unlock from the hub. Once you have it out, you can set it aside. And we can take out the locking hub. All you have to do is unscrew it counterclockwise. Once you have it out, you can set it aside. Now we can take the fine filter out. It's just pressed into the sump right back here. So we just have to lift up on it and then pull it out. Now we can take out the spray arm base. All we have to do is unscrew it counterclockwise. It goes up to this water supply line. There's supposed to be a little locking tab right here. Ours is broken off. So you may have to take a little flathead screwdriver and release the tab. Then you can turn the hub so the water line comes out and you can unscrew it. Once you have it out, there's a little washer in here that you don't want to lose. You can just set it aside. Now we can take off the cover for the filter that goes down into the sump. There's a couple locking tabs on each side. You can take a small flathead screwdriver, just kind of press on them to get one side released. Then you can lift it out and set it aside. Now we can take out the filter that goes down into the sump. There's actually a locking tab on each side underneath this filter. We have to kind of squeeze them together in order to get it to pop up. So we're going to take a putty knife and get it down on each side. And then once you have those in there, we're going to kind of squeeze the basket with it to release the locking tabs. Once you have it broke free, you can pull the putty knives out and then reach in and lift the filter out and set it aside. Now we can pull this filter out. All we have to do is lift up on it and pull it out. Once you have it out, you can set it aside. Now that we have everything out of the dishwasher, we're going to use the Phillips screwdriver to take out the screws that hold the dishwasher to the countertop. Once you have both screws out, we're going to lift up on the door and use that to carefully pull the dishwasher up from the cabinet. Once you have it out, you can grab the frame and pull it out the rest of the way. Once you have the dishwasher out of the cabinets, we're going to throw a towel down to protect the floor when we lay the dishwasher on its side. Once you have the towel down, we're just going to carefully lay the dishwasher on its side. Now that we have the dishwasher on its side, we have access to the part. We're going to put a towel down on the floor just to catch any extra water that may come out. Now that we have the towel down, we can take off the wires that go to the drain pump. We're just going to use a small flathead screwdriver to help pop them off. We got the double white wire with the red stripes on this one. And then the angled red one on this one. Once you have the wires off, you swing them out of the way. And then we can use the 5/16 nut driver to loosen up the clamp that holds the drain pump to the sump. Once you have the clamp loose, you can just slide it down the sump a little bit. We're not going to take it off. And we can use the 1/4" nut driver to loosen up the clamp that holds the drain hose on. Once you have the clamp loose, we can pull the drain hose off the drain pump. Just have to break it free and slide it off. Once you have it off, we're going to use the 1/4" nut driver to remove the 2 screws that hold the drain pump to the frame. Once you have both screws out, we can lift the drain pump out of the sump. Just have to break it free and lift it out. Once you have it out, you can pull it out of the dishwasher. Once you have the drain pump off, you want to pull this clamp off so we can put it on the new sump. Now we're going to remove the sensor from the sump. It's just held in by a clamp. We're going to use the 5/16 nut driver to loosen it up. Once you have it loose, we can pull the sensor out of the sump. If you have to, you can use a small flathead screwdriver and get behind the sensor, pull it out of the sump. Once you have it out, you can set it aside. And then we can pull the clamp off the sump and set that aside. Next, we're going to use the 5/16 nut driver to loosen up the clamp that holds the sump to the pump. Once you have the clamp loose, we can use the 1/4" nut driver to remove the 4 screws that hold the upper and lower brackets on. Once you have the screws out, you can pull the upper bracket out and set it aside. And then we can take out the screws that hold the lower one in. Once you have both screws out, you can pull the lower bracket out. Once you have the brackets off, we can take the sump off of the tub and the motor. We're going to support the motor real quick because once we take the sump off, there's only this little bar right here holding the whole assembly in. So we're just going to pull down on the sump to get it out of the tub and then pull it off the pump. Once you have it off, you can kind of hook the motor right here on the tub so it kind of stays there. Then we can take the clamp off of the sump and set it aside. Once you have the clamp off, you can pull it out. Here's the old sump next to the new one. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can get it at appliancepartspros.com. Before you put the new sump in, you can get the pump in the tub wet. That'll make it a little bit easier to slide in. Then we're going to put the clamp onto the new sump. Just have to put it in place so it's lined up. And we're going to lift the motor up a little bit and slide the sump onto it. And then we can line it up and push it into the tub. Now we can put the upper and lower brackets on. We're just going to slide them into place. And then we can use the 1/4" nut driver to put the screws in. Now that we have the brackets on, we can use a 5/16" nut driver to tighten down the pump clamp. Once you have that clamp tightened down, we can put the sensor back in. Before we put the sensor back on, we're going to lift this clamp up onto the sump, and then we can push the sensor up into the sump You want to make sure that this little tab right here lines up with the little notch on the sump. You can push it all the way up into place. We can use a 5/16 inch nut driver to tighten down the clamp. Once you have the sensor in, we can put the pump back in. Before we put the pump in, we're going to have to set the clamp down onto the sump. Just want to set it down into place. And then we can put the pump in. All you have to do is push it into place, push it down into the sump. Once you have it down all the way, you want to line up the mounting holes up here on the top. Then we can use the 1/4 inch nut driver to put the screws back in. Once you have the mounting screws in, we can reattach the drain hose. All you have to do is line it up with the fitting on the drain pump, push it into place. Once you have it seated, you can use the 1/4 inch nut driver to tighten down the clamp. Now we can lift up on the clamp that holds the pump to the sump. Just going to lift it up. We can use the 5/16 inch nut driver to tighten it down. Once you have it tight, we can reattach the wires. To reattach the wires, all we have to do is grab them and plug them onto the pump. Remember the red one on the right, and the double white with red stripe one on the left. Once you have the wires reattached, we can put the dishwasher back up on its feet. Once you have the dishwasher back on its feet, we can take the towel off the floor. Now we have to reach underneath and put the lines through the cabinets. We want to push the dishwasher in about halfway. Then we can go underneath the sink and pull on the lines to make sure they're not caught on anything. Then we can push the dishwasher in the rest of the way. Now we can reconnect the drain hose to the air gap. Once you have it pushed up into place, we're going to use our 5/16 inch nut driver to tighten down the clamp. Once you have the drain line hooked up, we can hook up the water line. All you have to do is get it started by hand. Once you have it snug, we can reach in with our 5/8 inch wrench to tighten it down so it doesn't leak. Now that we have the lines connected underneath the sink, we're going to open up the dishwasher door and use the Phillips screwdriver to put in the screws that hold the dishwasher to the countertop. Once you have the screws in, we can put everything back into the dishwasher. Now we can put the filter plate back in. All you have to do is slide it into position, and you want to make sure the hose comes up from the sump. Once you have that in, we can put the filter that goes on into the sump. All you have to do is press this down and snap it into place. Once you have it in there, we can put the cover on. Just have to line it up and set it into place. Once you have that on, we can put the spray arm base on. When you put the spray arm base in, you want to make sure that the washer is still in there from when you took it out. You just have to set the base down and screw it into the pump. Remember, our locking tab is broken, but as you bring it around, you're going to have to line it up and then lift up on the locking tab so it locks together. Once you have it in place, we can put the filter on. When you put the fine filter on, you want to make sure that it goes down into the sump here. And just set it in place. Once you have the fine filter on, you can put the locking hub on. Just going to set it into place and turn it clockwise to tighten it down. Once you have it in place, we can set the spray arm on it. All you have to do is set it down and turn it clockwise so it drops down and locks on. Once you have it on there, it should spin freely. Then we can put the lower dish rack back in. All you have to do is set it on the door and push it all the way back in. Once you have it in, you can close the dishwasher door. Then we can plug it back in, turn the water back on, and take it for a spin. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. Check out our other repair videos on our site, Facebook, and YouTube.